Hi, I am Jared Freid, and this is Us Weekly's Bachelor Recap, Episode 1. Pumped to be here. Let's get right into it. Such a great episode. Pete's back. We get a reintroduction to Pete Weber. Pete the pilot. Did you know he's a pilot? Did you know? Remember? Well, ABC is going to remind you with 30,000 pilot puns throughout this episode. That's how we start out. We reminded that Peter is a pilot. He's walking out. We go meet the family. Last season ends. The Bachelor Nation is debating who do we want as the next Bachelor. Tyler C. was too good looking, too famous to be the next Bachelor. Mike Johnson, yes, let's bring in Mike. Mike Johnson would have been our first black Bachelor. The audience felt ready for it. We were all sitting here like, yes, snaps from the back. We'd love Mike Johnson. ABC's like, nope, we're going to give you what you already knew. Peter Weber, faceless whitey. And then we go meet the family. And it almost felt like a response. The family's like, remember, we took a 23andMe and we're Cuban now. And the family's dancing, they're hugging, they're criers, they start crying again. So it kind of felt like we got right into, hey, we chose Peter because he's a good guy. And he's Cuban. Just remember that. So we get into the episode. We start meeting the women. They all are told, do something to stand out. Nothing makes someone sound dumber than a hot mic, okay? They get on the mic and we go through some of the highlights. Madison is a basketball player, 4-time state champion. They show her dad was her coach her whole life. He kind of looks like he's in the Chantrix commercial and he's going to go kill a whole town of people because he quit cigarettes. We go to Victoria as a nurse with a family of addicts, which we feel horrible for, but now they're baking cookies. Everything's fine. Kelly, the lawyer, whose desk is right next to her dad for some unknown reason. That is like wild to me. The dad was like, you're going to be a lawyer now. Congratulations. Here's your desk. Get in here. We had Hannah Ann, who is the model / finger painter. Hannah Ann, who lives with her parents, definitely. You begin to see with a lot of these people, it's either high-level career, what are they doing here? Or it's, I need the Instagram followers. Bring me on the show, please. I live at home with my parents. I'm calling myself a blogger, and I don't have a following, and I need one. They come out the entrances. Everyone enters the show referencing planes, pilots. A woman came out of luggage. If you haven't seen the show right now, you're going, what, Jared? Yes, a woman wanted to show her flexibility and was like, how do I do that? Oh, I'll fit in a Samsonite. That's how I'll do it. One girl dressed as a windmill, which is crazy to me. If you don't know, Peter's most famous for having sex with Hanabi, who we'll get to later, in a windmill. That's his most famous moment. Yes, that's a storyline that ran on ABC, a family network. One girl came dressed as a windmill, which is like, how do you even, what if they made it? What if Peter and the girl dressed as a windmill go on, get married, have 30 kids? What do they tell their kids? Oh, the first time I met your mom? Well, she was dressed as the structure that I banged my last girlfriend in. One girl brought a cow. Yeah, these are all things people do to stand out. The weirdest thing that people did to stand up is because Peter is known for a sexual act. And I'm not saying this in a jokey way. Peter is known for a sexual act. He is known for having sex with Hannah 4 times inside of a windmill. Go tell your dad about that storyline, okay? But this is what he's known for. So now the women are now, and this would happen male or female. This isn't I'm not trying to shame here. They know they can go up from windmill sex. So people said some things that were like somewhat crazy. One girl goes, I want you to see my hairless and then pulled out a picture of a cat. Can I say that on Us Weekly? Another girl said, I have a very dry sense of humor, but I'm not dry. There's girls referencing their wet. What's going on here? This is a show on ABC. I'm talking about the show. Don't get mad at me in the comments. Get mad at ABC, okay? Now I'm yelling at a hypothetical person. So The entrances are happening, and surprise, surprise, Hanabi shows up. Yep, and we're all sitting there because, so if you want to like take a second to look back at the history of Hanabi bangs Peter 4 times in the windmill and then says goodbye, kicks him off the show. Then it's between Tyler C., the model slash I hooked up with Gigi Hadid afterwards, and Jed, the I play music in dog food commercials. Okay? Hanabi chooses Jed. The country sits at home and goes, what? Repeat that again? You chose the poor musician who has music in dog food commercials over Captain America's body double? That's who you chose? So she chooses Jed. It comes out that Jed had a girlfriend that wasn't a girlfriend. The most relatable moment in Bachelorette history was Jed explaining his exclusive but no label relationship to Hannah. Every girl at home was like, yeah, I know this all too well. Oh, a guy that I'm dating but won't admit we're dating? And Hannah's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah, you're 24. That's why you haven't heard of it. Every 27-year-old girl at home is going, yeah, I'm in one of those right now. So Jed explains that, well, I was with a girl and she might have met my parents and she might have been at my birthday and I might have told her I loved her, but we weren't together. I never said we were boyfriend, girlfriend. Hanabi says, I'm not engaged to you, ends it with Jed. We go to the after the rose ceremony. She tries to pick up on Tyler C. Tyler C is every woman's hero at this point. He's not going to go into a relationship with her. He ends up going, they hook up once and he's like, I can end it with you without losing public support and I can go to Gigi Hadid. No one will think that I'm wrong for this. So now Hannah goes on Dancing with the Stars. She wins Dancing with the Stars. And what's her big follow-up? Well, I'm going to show up on ABC's The Bachelor to wish Peter well. That is the premise, is that she's coming out of the limo and we're supposed to go, oh, maybe she's here for love again. We hope not. I would hope that she can just join Raya, the famous Tinder, and just go on her way. No, she shows up. She says, Peter, you gave me your wings. That's the romantic crap Bachelor thing that they're doing that's crazy. Like, Bachelor, this is a side note. Bachelor does these things that women want to believe happen that never happen in real life, okay? No one's giving you their wings and going, you're the love of my life, here are my wings. Okay, that's not happening. That happens on The Bachelor. Peter had given her his wings on her season of The Bachelorette. Hannah's big way of coming back without seeming like she's hanging out around high school after she graduated is to say, hey, I'm back to give you back the wings so you can give them to the true love of your life. A very Disney moment that only a 24-year-old pageant woman would understand. Now we have the normal introduction. It's the Can I Steal You for a Second marathon, right? That's what we go into. The normal Bachelor things. These are the things that make you feel good as a Bachelor fan. Oh, the whole team is back. We got the entrances. We got Chris Harrison. We got people stealing you for a second. Can I steal you? Can I steal you? Can I steal you? This is the fun part. We're back. Doesn't it feel good? Doesn't it feel like you got into a Bachelor comforter and you're all cozy again? It's just good to be back with the gang. First impression rose. The rose has been dropped. Playtime's over, bitch. We're going to find out, who does Peter give it to? Hannah Ann, the model who gave him a painting of what looked like a bunch of Here's how hot Hannah Ann is, okay? Hannah Ann is very beautiful, okay? She's so hot that he looked at her third grade art project and he was like, oh my God, bring it to the Met. Hannah Ann gets the first impression rose because why wouldn't she get it? She's been modeling. She's also done Sonic commercials since she's been 16. Hannah Ann's a pro. Hannah Ann's going to get to the final 3, and then 10 years from now, she's going to have 1 million followers and a podcast called, Hanging Out with Hannah Ann, and you're going to be listening. So now we're at the group date, okay? I don't remember which Lauren, Bethany, Kelsey went on this, but I'll say this. Memorable part of the group date is that they're going to go to fly school because Peter, I don't know if you know this, Peter's a pilot. Did you know? So Peter, the pilot's going to bring his group date to fly school. He brings out 2 women that are more accomplished than every person that's ever been on The Bachelor and Bachelorette combined. One's a Blue Angel, the first female Blue Angel. The other one's a pilot in the military. And they're going to teach these women how to fly. First, they have a math test. The math test goes exactly how you'd think it would go, okay? Whatever amount of math you think a Bachelor contestant knows, that's how much they know, okay? And so no surprises there. We do the math test. Then they're going to do an obstacle course. This obstacle course was actually fantastic. Whoever produced this obstacle course, you're great. You need to get a job on Wipeout. They probably brought the Wipeout people. They're like, hey, the intern from Wipeout's going to come over and set up a little course. The course was great because what it did was every section of the course, you'd lose someone. So like they'd have the whole group, and then like the first 4 would move on to the next round. The first 3 would, and so on and so forth. So the last leg of I also think that this obstacle course should be the prereq to TSA Pre. Wouldn't that be awesome if you had to go through this obstacle course to get TSA Pre? Then you wouldn't be behind some old woman trying to like flash her ticket for 30 minutes, right? This would work. This is the America we need, free 2020. So they get to the end where it's Tammy versus Kelly in a tricycle race. Tammy's from Syracuse, and her opening was her lifting weights, making many pooping faces. And then Kelly is an accomplished lawyer. Is a lawyer and attorney the same thing? Now I sound like one of the bachelors during the math section. I don't know. I keep saying lawyer, but I mean attorney. Keep that in. So it comes down to Tammy, who's from Syracuse, who did a weightlifting video in her open where she just was like, hey, take 7 shots of what it looks like when I poop. And then versus Kelly, the attorney who works for her dad, who his desk is right next to her. So they do this like, tricycle race, and the big controversy is that Kelly cheated in the tricycle race. Can you imagine being an attorney? Like 1 week you're reading legal documents and you're going, yeah, Dad, I got all the documents. We're gonna put them in jail. And then the next week you're like, I'm doing the trike race. Like these are like the things in your life that have changed. So apparently Kelly, the attorney, cheated during the trike race. Tammy's mad. The producers for ABC are like, we didn't see it, didn't happen. Kelly wins. She gets to go in the plane with Peter. They fly around. They look at some stuff. They have a moment. Then they're going to have a date later that night. So then it's presented Tammy. The whole group gets together, and they're like discussing the tricycle race gate 2019. So they're all discussing the controversy of Kelly cheating on the race. But it really seems like Kelly has a target on her back because her and Peter met before the show. Now, this was referenced a couple times. Kelly, the attorney who works next to her dad, went on a girls' trip and was in the same hotel that Peter was in before the season started. Do you understand that information? If you've ever been to a group brunch, that story should be easy for you to understand. So now we're led to believe that Kelly met Peter for 2 minutes in a lobby. I don't believe that that's all they met for. They know each other a little too well for her to be like, you're the guy from The Bachelor, and him to go, thanks, nice to meet you. No. There's a history there that is not being told to the audience. And the other women on the show are sniffing that out. They're starting to get mad. At one point, it gets very female when they're like, do you know this is the hotel that they met in? As if that's like a more important, like as if that makes them more of a couple. That's something my girlfriend would say to me. She'd be like, and this is the hotel that you came to with an ex-girlfriend 7 years ago, and now you brought me here? It's like, yeah, there's only one hotel in the area. So then Kelly and Peter have a nice date. The girls all hate Kelly because her and Peter seem to have started their relationship already prior to the show. Then we come back to the house. Madison, the former basketball player with the dad, who might be a Netflix documentary in a few years, she she gets the one-on-one date. They have the weirdest first date you've ever heard in your entire life. Madison's first date, he goes, I'm bringing you to my parents' house where they're renewing their vows in the backyard. That is their date. Yes. Can you imagine that's your first date? First of all, this is the most unfair thing male to female in the history of male to female. If it was reversed and the Bachelorette brought a guy on his first date to her parents getting their vows renewed, the guy would be like, hey, I have to use the bathroom and then never come back again. He would never, Madison, but when it's a woman, she's like, oh my God, I'm being brought into the family. I'm a part of things. He thinks that I'm family worthy. And Peter's like, no, I just needed someone to sit there while I renew the vows. Yeah, Peter is the minister who's renewing his parents' vows. That's also something that wouldn't happen in real life. If a girl was ever brought on a first date to a parent's vow renewal, she'd go home to her friends and be like, can you believe he just left me the whole time? I'm sitting by myself. He's got to go up there and renew their vows. Like, none of this makes sense. Then they get done with the wedding. He's at the vow renewal. They're having fun. Madison and Peter are like, we're going to go off and have our own time. They go for my favorite Bachelor tradition, where they dance in front of a band that is presented to the audience as a big-time band, but we have no clue who they are. They're just some band that we assume is from somewhere in Kentucky, Alabama, Ohio, and they came out here to play on their banjo or some crap. And so then Madison and Peter have their moment, they're kissing, they're grinding, and then at one point, they're like, bring out the family. They're like, I gotta imagine Peter's at half a chub. He's sitting there grinding. They're like, bring out Nana. And then Nana's like, comes out dancing. It's like, oh, this is awkward. I mean, you gotta hand it to Madison. I mean, how worried are all of us to meet our significant other's parents? Madison, I gotta hand it to her. I actually like her more. I'm realizing I like Madison more and more because imagine you go, let's do a first date. And the guy goes, I'll surprise you. And then the whole family's there without even telling you what to wear. So it's like, good for Madison. She got through it. They end up, they do some kissing in front of the parents. It's a little awkward. Nana's dancing. They're doing the electric slide. So then we go to the second group date. Okay. The second group date is a group of Kelseys, whatever they are. I don't know it's too big right now to learn people's names. They're going to go off, and we're brought to a stage that looks like would have slam poetry. And in the background, there's a shadowy figure of a windmill. And it's like, enough with the windmill. These women left their lives to go on a TV show to embarrass themselves to get a 1 in 33 chance to marry a guy making $150,000 a year. Okay? Why are we like you got to feel for these girls, and now every 5 minutes someone's like, here's a windmill. He banged his ex there. He banged his ex there. It's like, enough. Put it away. We know. He didn't make her climax. We know. That's another story. If he made her climax, they would be married and disappeared in the woods. We wouldn't even be here right now. So now they have the shadowy windmill. The women on the group date are standing there. Peter's in front of them. And Hanabi is back. We thought she was gone. She gave him his wings. Nope, Hanabi's back. Came for more followers, okay? She gets on stage, and Hanabi starts telling the story of her and Peter, and she's presenting it in this fairy tale way, right? She's telling the story as if it's a fairy tale, but there's nothing fairy tale like of we banged 4 times in a windmill and I dumped him. Like, that's the story. She's going, once upon a time, I met a boy named Peter. He was a pilot. He knew how to fly. He knew how to fly me directly into a windmill. Yes, this Airbnb was a special Airbnb. He brought me into the windmill. We went to the top shelf, and old Mother Hubbard got her cupboard totally wrecked. Like, it's a weird thing, okay? So she tells this story. They keep flashing to Peter doing interviews being like, this is so weird. No, Peter, you're a part of this. You are complicit. You're the Bachelor. You could have stopped this at any time. I felt bad for the women on the group date. They put their lives aside, and Hannah won't go away. Hannah does her whole Disney speech about getting railed in the windmill, and then they show her with a producer, and she's having a little bit of a breakdown. And she says to the producer, she starts letting the producer know that this doesn't feel right. She has feelings for Peter. Which, okay, now my eyes are starting to roll, okay? Because then Peter has to go and see, Hannah, are you okay? So now Hannah and Peter are having this moment where they're discussing their past. Hannah is really seeing this past not how I saw it, not how America saw it. Peter's right. Peter's like, you sent me home, then you went off with Jed, and then you asked Tyler C out after dumping Jed. Where was I? You never came back to me. And Hannah sees it differently. She says something along the lines of, it was always going to be you or Jed. It's like, no. You got rid of Peter before the final two. Why did that happen? He didn't meet your parents. It seems like Hannah has a different history of what happened than Peter does, and to be honest, America does. And at this point, Hannah starts crying, and Peter starts getting, emotional, and we are literally watching someone's quarter-life crisis. That's what's happening. Because Hannah, I'm sure, as all of us have been through the quarter-life crisis. It's a very millennial thing where it's like, oh my God, college is over. I don't know what, there's no test to take. There's no test to take to get an A. So now I don't know what to do with life, and life now seems really long. Hannah is getting off The Bachelor, getting off The Bachelorette. She's not married. Now she goes on Dancing with the Stars, and it's like, what's the next step? And she's probably freaking out, which is fine. But she brought her freak out to other people's start of life. She brought her freak out and disregarded the 33 other women who are trying to get their life somewhere different. So I feel bad for the contestants of the show. Hannah took the show hostage, and now we're left with Peter saying, do you want to come back and be in the house? Which made me laugh. Yeah, I don't think Hannah is coming into the house. I don't think Hannah is going from winning Dancing with the Stars to bunking up with Victoria P. I don't think that's happening. If Hannah comes back to the house, I kept imagining him going, do you want to come back to the house? And Hannah will be like, yeah, well, I'll have to talk to my manager and my agent, and we'll have to discuss the contract with ABC, and I'll have to make sure I have my own room, and I'll have to have a glass case for my Dancing with the Stars trophy. Like that's not gonna happen. But we're left with a cliffhanger. It's to be continued, and we'll see what happens next week. Apparently, all these girls in the group date are just sitting in a side room being like, I wonder what's going on with Peter and Hannah. They're just sitting waiting, just like us. We'll be back next week. That's your Bachelor Recap. I'm Jared Freid. Follow us weekly on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. I scream at the TV just like I screamed at you every episode. At Jared Freid, us weekly on YouTube. We'll be back next week. Boom.